All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super, super, super excited because this is a special episode that's near and dear. Hold on, because I can't. I did this for y'all, ladies.
I'm weak.
We're sick of it.
Come on, baby. Come on. The Haitian
connection. This song isn't even Haitian. They're from Guadeloupe.
Exactly. They're from Guadeloupe.
Exactly. That's what we crazy. We crazy. Like crazy.
Carry me, high, vibe. What else? Impossible. Who else?
See? But nobody. But the first thing they go to when you go to Labor Day, they playing Casa. That's crazy, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know this. Chatty Patty is definitely a Zo. Everybody here is a true indeed Haitian. So I dedicate this episode for all my Zoetakus, all my Zos out there. I respect y'all, I love y'all. I know I don't shout y'all enough, but this episode is definitely for you. You might catch a couple of Creole every now and then. I might put some subtitles depending on how I feel with the edit. Let me introduce myself. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Chatty Patty from the Black Ramen Podcast, and I have two beautiful, sensational ladies, Haitian, beautiful women with me. Introduce yourselves. Let's start from the. Let me see. This my right? Is it right?
So would that be me?
That'd be you. Yeah.
Okay. So hi, beautiful people. My name is Caren, A.K.A. That Zoetaku. You can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, even though I haven't posted in a while because of applications, but that's Zoetaku, and I talk about anime, cartoons, anything having to do with animated characters because I believe that animated characters are better than human beings to my soul, to my core. Absolutely.
Facts.
I hear that. I hear that.
And we have with us.
Hi, everyone. ELLY G here. Cosplayer, content creator, gamer. I love memes.
Yes.
You could find me on Twitter somewhere, Instagram. All my handles are here somewhere, but they're not the same thing, which is weird. They all have Ellie in it, but yeah.
It's all good because ladies and gentlemen, I'm making sure that all these beautiful women, their handles are in the bottom as they speak. So don't even worry about Ellie because she messed up. This is a perfect opportunity. She's gonna promote her YouTube page, but I guess that's all right because I did it. Look, it looked nice.
Very easy. Thank you, Chatty Patty.
Thank you.
Of course. So the reason I wanted to do this episode because I don't really meet a lot of Zos out there that are into anime and nerd culture. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I haven't been fortunate enough to meet a lot of them, especially women. So
that's true.
Ellie, when we first met, it was at karaoke, right?
Yes, it was karaoke.
Yeah. So we was in the app called Meetup. So there's an app where you can actually talk to or meet up with people who have the same interests as you. So somebody makes a group, and it's like this meetup was like an all-girl nerd group, right? And it was a karaoke session. So you pay, and then they rent a room, and then we go to this karaoke studio, and we just have fun.
This app sounds lit. Where was I when this app was around?
It was in 2019.
That sounds very convenient.
The app still exists. It was in 2019, way before the pandemic.
Way before the pandemic. So that's how I met Ellie. Ellie told me she was Haitian, and I was just attached to her hip ever since. We exchanged numbers. We sang songs like it was really funny because the OPs that I was picking, some of the girls did not know of. And I was like, I thought y'all listened to anime. Yo, this is how I know she was my soulmate. Ellie came and I said, let's sing Neon Genesis Evangelion. Ellie said, held up, I know Japanese. So rap. She didn't judge me because my Japanese is crap. But she didn't judge me. We sang to our heart's content. Everybody was like, I think I know this song. I was like, shut up, bitch. It's a moment. If you don't know this song, don't say, like, everybody was just looking at us and we were just standing out. And I'm looking at Ellie. I'm like, yo, I think we're the biggest nerds in here. She was like, yeah. And I was like, we were the biggest nerds.
We really were.
We
That's a beautiful moment. It's like a spiritual bond, like being formed right before your eyes. That sounds so beautiful.
It was great. It was great. We exchanged numbers, and I was like, "Yo!" Ever since, she's been super supportive. Thank you, Ellie. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Patty.
But I wanted us to have a discussion about how, you know, our upbringings were, being Haitian and actually being a nerd. If you guys don't know this, like, Haitian people have 3 expectations of you, Haitian parents.
Name it out. One by one.
A doctor, an engineer, or an honorable mention, a lawyer.
Yes, a lawyer. Yes.
A lawyer, maybe. Maybe that's an honor, like, you know, that's a side thing. So I love comic books. I love to draw. My parents never they never wanted me to draw. They was like, this is not going to get you money, you're wasting your time and stuff like that. So I had to be I had to sneak in my room with a flashlight to draw under the sheets and stuff like that. And when I found my love for anime, I was like, damn, this is, and this is back in the day where access to anime was limited. I don't even think Adult Swim was popping like that. So I was like, Jesus, where am I going to get this? So I had the plug. In high school, I had a friend of mine who started giving me VHS tapes. He was Asian. He just started giving me VHS. Yes, I'm old.
That's supportive.
That's fine.
You're not old. You're vintage. Vintage.
There it is. I'm classic. I'm classic. I like
classic.
That.
Classic.
Thank you, Caren. Thank you, Kiki. I appreciate you. So he would give me VHS tapes, and I would watch them, and I would be like, "Yo, I want more." And he would give me one every day as long as I return it, because his brother had a stash. And then the crazy thing is, we never acknowledged each other in the hallways.
He really was your dealer. He really was your dealer. Wow.
He was my pusher. He was my pusher.
Did he have like a whole jacket, like a whole trench coat, and then like VHS tips like hanging out and be like, don't tell nobody.
You would think, you know, but nah. It's just that we had different crews and we had different cliques. So he didn't know if I was going to react or say hi to him in front of my friends. I didn't know if he was going to say hi to me in front of his friends. But once we had class together, we were like this. But when we get outside, people wouldn't even know we knew each other.
Really?
To this day, if I ever see him yo, that's my dude, man. That's my pusher. But it was very hard because, you know, all that remained being a secret, you know, and I feel like it's very it's horrible growing up, loving what you love and not being able to feed that. And that's what kind of causes that the outcast bullshit to me.
Right.
Because you have people in your home, even my friends, the people in my circle, they never knew that I was into anime. I never told them. I never told them that. Because they found out that stuff to be weird. And then Sailor Moon just popped up in the scene. They weren't watching cartoons. The most they were watching was probably Power Rangers or whatever. But they weren't watching Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball or none of that. I was sitting there watching Fist of the North Star. I was sitting there watching all these classics. And I couldn't tell my friends I was watching that. I was low-key like into alternative Green Day, Cranberries. I couldn't tell them I was into that. You know, when they caught whiff of it, like, oh, what's that on your Walkman? And I was like, oh snap, they're about to come for me. And I'm like, oh nah, I found this cassette in the hallway on the floor and I picked it up, and that's why.
Meanwhile, it's like a nightcore version of some anime song.
Right.
Word.
I'm not gonna lie, like I love me some nightcore. Back in the day.
That's all I listened to. Back in like the early 2000s. That's all I listened to.
Along with the AMVs. Sorry.
Yes, the AMVs.
No, I feel you totally. But you know, I feel like it's kind of it sucked though. But I feel like it made us a stronger individuals, because we knew that this is who we were. It took us time to get here. But for me, I knew this was like a secret. Even my husband didn't know while we was dating that I was into anime and comics until I introduced him to my mom and my dad. He came in my room. He said, "Oh shit. You got mad stuff on your walls." I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, you like comics?" I said, "Yeah, a little bit, a little bit." And then
trying to be low key with it when you know you can't. tried. You tried. I'll give you an A for effort.
I tried. So it wasn't really easy. So I'm gonna hit it off with Caren. How was with you growing up? Like, did you really? Oh, she started off with the You heard that? Oh my God! At least she said
So let's see. Where do I start off with? So for me and my journey with like anime and cartoons, I've always loved cartoons. Like, I was born in '96, and all I watched was like Pokemon, Powerpuff Girls, Edda and Eddie. Of course, like all the classic shows from like Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon. Those were in my rotation. Those were the only 3 channels that we were allowed to watch. I have a younger brother, and he knew better than to try to change the channel. It was only cartoons in this household. When it came to my mom, at first she was just like, okay, anything that's like, she's at least like in a corner and not going outside being a vagabond in the street. So like, this is fine.
Not the vagabond. That's the vagabond. Not the vagabond.
Fine, I guess.
Vagabond.
But I think she assumed there was just going to be like a short phase when I'm like 10, 12, 13. And then she sees them still actively watching cartoons for children as I'm like turning 16, 17, 18. And then she was just like, when is this going to stop? Like, God forbid it was like Halloween and I wanted to dress up. Of course, like Halloween in a Haitian household, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, non-existent. Was not allowed to celebrate years. Exactly.
What is that?
Lugawu comes out at that time.
That's right.
Lugawu comes out.
That's right. That's right. Only Jesse in this house. Only Jesse.
So while all my friends were dressing up as like their favorite characters from like Disney movies and all that stuff, I of course had to stay in the house and avoid the door because we handed out candy to kids, but we were not allowed to participate because my mom wanted.
You handed out candy?
We handed out candy, but I was not allowed to go out and do the actual trick or treating because she wanted to like, you know, be part of the neighborhood and just like allow the neighborhood kids to have fun. But for us, it was like, you live in this house, those kids don't live in this house, so they don't have the same rules. It was a very weird system. But it wasn't until like I was probably like 13, 14 that I actually celebrated Halloween for the first time. And by then, of course, you're like too old to be going out trick-or-treating. I don't know about y'all, but I trick-or-treated until it was like 21, like in New York City, like in those fancy ass neighborhoods. I was trick-or-treating until 21. I thought it was fun. But I
you got the good chocolate. You got the good chocolate.
Yes, I got the good chocolate. Bro, if you've ever gone trick-or-treating on Halloween in New York, like in the fancy areas, like around like West 72nd, phenomenal.
Upper West Side?
Yeah, beautiful. Like the houses are decked out to the max. You got people like making their houses into whole ass like haunted mansions. It's fucking dope. But I digress. First Halloween, I actually dressed up as Raven, and it was like maybe once or twice I actually kept doing Halloween because my mom was just like, this is just not what we do. This is not part of our culture. But I say all this to say that mom didn't really understand the anime and cartoon aspect of me. Dad is a little bit more understanding. Like he wouldn't understand, but he wouldn't like reject it. And I think that's what I really needed as a kid, to just allow myself to be me and enjoy my weird stuff as much as possible. That's just a little bit about me, if that makes any sense.
Nah, it's cool. I mean, the fact that you were able to still maintain your love for animation, even though despite what your parents did, that shows a lot of courage. Because Haitian parents don't play. They'll make you give it up. They'll make you give it up. Yeah. So that shows a lot. So I appreciate that. That's dope.
It wasn't until closer to college that my parents were like, you need to start giving this stuff up because like you're getting too old for this. And I'm like, I'm like 19 at this point. Like it's too late. The ship has sunk. It's too late for me to turn back now. But yeah.
Where we going? This is coming with me. I'm sorry. This is coming. I'm sorry. Come on.
Exactly. And then the pandemic happens and I start making like anime content. Like it's clipped. It's clipped. You should have never let me dress up as Raven. That's where y'all failed. It's too late. It's too late.
Gotcha. No, there's not.
I gotcha.
Pretty much. But I mean, I love it. The fact that you persevered through all that, that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Ellie.
Oh wow. Growing up, I did not have cable. I didn't have cable until I was 16.
Same.
So like all of my like anime, all the anime stuff that I did watch, back when like 4Kids existed, like the Kids WB and everything.
Yes.
So I grew up with watching Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh was my jam when I was a kid. It still kind of is, but yeah.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yes.
Blue-eyed White Dragon. When you had that card in your deck, you was fucking shit up.
When I was in 5th grade, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think my mom still remembers this. So, like, she's probably still haunts me with this. So, like, I remember when I was like, I loved Yu-Gi-Oh so much that like I took like $20 from like her jacket, and like and I bought a Dark Magician card from like one of my classmates for $10, and I treated her to lunch too. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh that much.
Did you get caught?
Oh hell yes, I did.
You got caught?
Yes, I did. I got my ass beat by my mom, my dad, and my aunt.
Oh my god! It's not. Listen, if you guys don't know, in the Haitian household, vindola so it's not a little thing. $20 is not little. Like
my mom did not let me live it down for like up until I was like way into my teens. She did not let me live.
Did she call anybody and let them know what you did? Because they like to do that. They like to
announce the entire world. Like, hey, you did this, she did this, and then she tried to fight me. Meanwhile, I'm trying to defend myself.
Don't put your arm up. Don't put your arm up. Oh, you want to beat me up? I'm like, oh, to beat me up. I'm like, first of all, I'm trying to defend myself, bitch. I'm not trying to fight.
This is a reaction.
My mom dead called me like, oh, voleur. All the time. I'm like, I'm not a thief, please. I just wanted a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
That's all I wanted.
I just wanted a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
But can you imagine, like, you can't ask your mom or your dad for money for comic books or for like, they don't see it as something you can valet. It's not something that's of importance. Like, you could be spending money on more mathematic books, like stuff like that. They never saw. It's
the funny part. I did that. Like I was like a really good student too. Like I did everything that my parents wanted to.
But it's never studied good enough because you still had your anime stuff.
Yes,
right?
I still had my anime stuff. Like in middle school and high school, I started like borrowing like Mark Curley books, like the the blah 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 for dummies books, all of that. Like,
those are cool.
I was drawing I've been drawing since I was like, as long as I was writing. Like as long as I could pick up a pencil, I was drawing. So I'm just like, okay, so my parents saw that like me drawing was just like a bad thing because like as Patty said, like it's not gonna grant you money. Like why are you doing this?
They don't see any career.
Yeah, I wanted to be an animator growing up. Like
me too.
Anime influenced me so heavily. Like I wanted to tell stories like everyone, like how like Kishimoto did, like how like Akira Toriyama did, like everybody, Tide Kubo, everybody, like all my favorite like mangaka. I wanted to tell stories like that, but like because I didn't like pursue the art, I was just like, okay, let me do the next best thing, and I studied computer science because I'm just like, okay, I could still do what I love, which is like like drawing and animation and all that stuff like that, but at the same time I could work on getting money. And like at that time my mom was just like, oh, kisa sae software engineer, kisa sae oh,
again, it's not part
video
of the
game designer.
It's not the big three. It's not the big three in the Haitian house.
Yeah, all the time. I'm just like, yes.
Nah, they're not trying to get that. They're not
I
trying
didn't
to
pursue it.
They're not trying. If it doesn't sound good on the phone when they calling Haiti on WhatsApp or long
bragging rights.
Yes,
they need bragging rights.
They do need bragging rights because it's not about you at the end of the day. It's about them. It's always about them.
I went to get my master's too. That's the funny part. I went to get my master's like 6 years ago, but like it wasn't in computer science. It was in like post-secondary education because like I wanted to work in colleges because I'm just like, okay, I see that there's like a need for Black women in this field. There's always a need for like support staff in college, but my mom was like, "Oh, what fair cup?" And I'm just like,
that's all they care about. That's all they care about. It is.
And even then, like, my mom was just like, it's always like, oh, money this, money that. My dad was cared about that too, but like, at the same time, my dad is my dad is in his mid-70s. He grew up with Astro Boy.
Yeah.
So like so like me watching like any cartoon or anime or anything like that, like he wouldn't really understand what's going on, but like he would tell us stories of back like when they brought like cartoons and anime and everything.
Yeah, like Scooby-Doo,
like Scooby-Doo, yup, Tom and Jerry. My dad loves him some Tom and Jerry all the time.
Tom and Jerry was great, son.
Yep.
Jerry was a menace to society. I'm not going to. Jerry was a menace to society.
He was, but that jazz episode, is you ain't my baby. That was fire.
Right.
That was fire. That was fire. Even though they had some racial undertones when they had that maid with the palm.
Yeah.
Oh, not the mammy.
The mammy,
that one like suicide episode. Like, do you remember the episode where Tom and Jerry were like at the end of the episode they like sit on the train tracks waiting for the
yes.
It got dark real quick.
Oh yeah, it got real dark. I don't think these cartoons were meant for us, but it was okay.
Yo, that's the funny part. They would say all the time, like, "Oh, why are you watching the T-Tonton?" Because you know they would say T-Tonton for like everything.
That's the cartoon.
That's the cartoons. I'm just like, Mom, this isn't for children, and I'm over here watching Attack on Titan, just like I'm over here listening to like Bryce Papenbrook like yelling as Aaron. I'm just like, this for children.
This is not for kids. You know what it is? When it comes for animation for me, I fell in love with the movement of everything, and the music, and it was more than just a story. It was just how the movement and how back in the day everything was hand drawn and how beautifully it displayed the story. Like back then I didn't need subtitles. Like I could actually watch a beautiful scene and just watch just the movement, the hair strands. Like there was a series like it was called Cat Eyes, I think, about these three girls. They were like cat burglars, and one of them is dating this cop who was really dumb, and he would never be able to find out. They would steal stuff all the time, and he never had a clue that it was one of the girls that he was involved with. And the movement of that was so beautiful. Like, oh God, like Akira to me was yo,
that motorcycle slide.
The motorcycle slide.
Repeated everywhere.
The city, the jacket.
Yes, the city. That's right. The jacket is iconic.
Jacket. Even like that whole like monster amalgamation at the end being repeated in like franchises. Like I think they did it in what? Rick and Morty, and they did it in Bob's Burgers. They recreated.
Of course. It's everywhere because it's iconic. It was beautiful. I fell in love with that, but they didn't see it as that. They saw it as like, you know, kid stuff. And even in the States, there was an award show. What was it? It was the Oscars, and they had a category for best animation. Yes. And even when they presented the category, yes, he did. Yo, did you hear how they announced the winners beforehand? They made it seem animation was like for children.
They threw so much shade. I'm just sitting here like, what? We're still doing this in the year 2022? Like, come on, we need you to just grow up and do better. But I had
an art teacher like that, and I'm just like,
really?
Yeah, I had an art teacher like that in high school. Yeah,
an art teacher that was shade animation.
Yeah, no, there's some art teachers they don't consider anime art. They don't like that art style. So
it's
they
based on racism anyway. So
majority of it is, but they don't like the art style. They don't. I was in high school, through middle school and high school, my major was art. So I had professors that really, really pushed me because I was nice. You know, I ain't gonna toot my own horn, but you know, I was nice with the lead, you know what I mean? Pew, pew, you know? So I would try to draw some of these characters that I would see in my anime, and teachers was like, this is not art. They really shit on it. They don't like anime, that they don't like that type of art style. They don't consider it art.
Even though it's so many different forms, like you have all different types of art styles. Studio Ghibli is not the same art style as Fooly Cooly. It's not the same art style as like even within Studio Ghibli, there's like variations of like how Miyazaki does his art style. So
there is.
It's disappointing.
It is disappointing because I feel as art is art.
Art is art. That's how I saw it too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that. But you know what's so funny? Mm-hmm. My father is a big ass hypocrite because when he was dating my mom would come. My dad would bring flowers to my mom, and my mom would bring my dad the latest comic issue. And while they was dating in Haiti, and the comic was like one of those pocket comics, those $2 comics, the cowboy comics,
like Archie comics, or
they were like Archie comics, but they were in French and they were about cowboys. So she would bring them to my dad.
That's so cute.
Like every day. It's so cute. But that's a bitch move. No, that's a bitch move because you can't tell me you out here dating this grown ass man and you bring him comics before y'all go out to dinner. But I keep my fucking comics in the house. What's wrong with you? I was like, yo, this is a hypocrite. Yo, my dad used to laugh at me and be like, Patricia, you know, when your mom was going outside with me, we go to date, date.
You're the date.
The date. The rendezvous,
rendezvous,
I don't say, we used to have a good time, before your mom comes see me, she buy my comic book, she buy my comic book,
Your accent is
like, what? But it's true, that's how they say. She's like, reading the comic. I said, Dad, you read comic books? Yeah, sure. Why not? Can you read them? No, you cannot, Patricia. You have to go to school. You need.
It was only 3 places that we were allowed to go: Legleys, Lakai. You are my people.
You already know. Legleys, church, Lekol, school, Lakai, home. That's all you got. That's all you got. But
the 3 L's.
That's it. That's all you got, and you got to take them L's too. That's it. You got to take them L's too.
Take it or leave it. Be happy with it.
That's it. But I don't know about you guys. At some point I did resent my parents for that. I did have a difficult relationship with them. Did you guys have any resentment?
I still do. I still do. Past tense. I still do.
It honestly wasn't until like
wait, I'm sorry, Ellie. Ellie was like, hell yeah. She came out with that. Oh yeah, I hate that bitch.
No, it honestly wasn't until like I got older, like especially when I was making my own money and like I showed my mom, hey, I'm on this newspaper because of cosplay. I'm on this article because of cosplay, and she's just like, oh, okay, Shelly.
That's it.
And then no. The funny part is now because of that, she every time she's like, oh, Elenna, voyez-moi un picture sur WhatsApp. For every time I cosplay, she's like, oh, vous parlez costume? Voyez-moi un picture. I'm just like, okay, sure. And then she'll show it to her friends at work.
So proud.
Like it honestly, it wasn't until like I guess
I love that though.
It wasn't until like the pandemic hit, like now, and when I'm about to be 30 now, she's just like, oh, okay, Elenna, okay.
I mean that's
beautiful. It's like an acceptance part.
Right.
I mean they get there. They get there. They do eventually. They get there. Did you Kiki, did you resent anybody? Did you resent your dad or your mom growing up because of their lack of? I think it's a lack of understanding in their part.
For me, I think it has to do with. Okay, so I'm still having a complicated relationship with my parents, but I'm understanding that my parents coming from Haiti, coming from like an impoverished country. They're coming from a poverty mindset, where their main goal was survival. Come to this country for survival. Anything that doesn't induce like survival, profit, prosperity for me or my children is a waste of time, and I don't have the time for that. So now they're in this country and they have kids who can have more. Like, I recognize the privileges that I've come up with, where I can allow myself to have the privilege to explore other aspects of myself, whether it's dance, anime, drawing, or whatever. And they have a hard time still conceptualizing that because they did not grow up with that. Right. So I think for me, it has to come with learning how to forgive my parents for where they came from, because that wasn't their fault, but also acknowledging that they have to do the inner work to move past that trauma to have a better relationship with me, and just like in terms of my hobbies, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I totally agree. Like, that's how I felt too for many years, because I felt like, damn, I really could have took my career, could have been, and I could have been at the Stagio Studios. I could have been at Mappa. Mappa could have told me I could have been into it heavily.
I could have been a voice actor. I wanted to do that, actually.
Yeah, I wanted to do that too. I wanted to be a voice actor. I wanted to do animation. I wanted to do all that. Just
to be in that industry, just to have passion to do something that you love for the rest of your life and get money out of it too.
Yeah.
That's the real fuel. So I had resentment to my parents for a long time. And then I realized, like, I had a conversation with my mother, and I told her, like, Ma, you never said anything about my art or anything, because I was doing portraits. And so I sat down and spoke with her, and then she said, hold on. And she went in the closet and she pulled out all my art projects that I did in high school, which I thought she did. And she said to me, that really took me out. She was like, I never said you no good, Patricia. You good.
Why did you say that before?
What, right.
But it took a long time. Like, this happened like a couple of years ago. You know, God rest her soul. She just passed from COVID 2019. So it's like she thank you. She broke it down to me, and she was like, first and foremost, like you're a woman and you're Black. You know, opportunities that you want is not going to be presented to you no matter how talented you are. They're not going to pick you first. I just need you to have a solid foundation and a solid education, because I don't have these opportunities growing up like you do now. And I want you to take advantage of that. Like, you're talented. I know you're talented. And I love that for you. I love that you can translate things through lead and paper and just make them look beautiful. You have an eye. It's just that this world won't appreciate you. So I'm trying to build you up so you don't need no validation from anybody. You make your own money. You have your education. That's one thing they can never take away from you. But opportunities to flourish in your talent, they will take that away from you. You are a Haitian American. You are a Black woman. You will never be looked at as an equal to another person. Even if you drew better than this white man that's sitting next to you right now, they will look at him first before they even give a second thought to you. When she told me that, I was like, at first, I didn't know how to respond. I sat there and I listened to her. Then I was like, but still, Ma, I was a kid. You know, there's certain things that you said that you did kind of just resonate, just stayed with me. You know, sometimes I question my talent. Sometimes I think I wasn't good enough, you know, and there's other projects that I wanted to do as a kid that I didn't do because of the fact I'm known for not finishing artwork. I'm known for not finishing pieces.
Me too.
You see, it's the lack of confidence. It's the lack of confidence, and I would get that from my parents because they would tell me, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But I never got, "Oh, this is nice. This is dope. Oh, this is beautiful." No, what are you doing? Yeah. So, when she told me that, I was like, but you damaged me a little bit. She said, I didn't damage you because you still watching your stupid cartoon, Patricia. So I'm like, cool.
She called it stupid.
Yeah. At least what she calls me. She calls me everything under the book. But she told me, she's like, yo, but you still here. Like, you still collect your comic books. You got an art table and your pencils, and You leave them everywhere in the house, and I still pick them up for you. And I take them away from you. Sometimes I used to, when you were younger and you left these shits all over, I used to throw them out, but I picked them up for you. And I put them to the side because I know you're going to ask me where they at. And sometimes I don't even wait for you to ask me where they at. You never notice there's pencils on your desk that you left downstairs. You salop, and I bring them back into the room. And then all day salop, all day. And I realized that's just their defense mechanism. That's just how Haitian parents, they will show you the type of tough love that can either make or break you. Yeah. If you are able to live in a Haitian household, and I think there's a lot for West Indians and African parents too, because they know in this world we got the shitty end of the stick, and they really, really try very hard to show you tough love. But a lot of us just want to be loved. We get the toughness, but I sometimes just want you to tell me I'm good, and I will be on cloud 9, mommy. You don't even know. And then she looked at me. She said, "Okay, Patricia, she just looked at me. She said, "Patricia, you good?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to know more." I did 2 years ago. She looked at me. She said, "Okay, Patricia, you good?" So, I mean, it's a lot. It's really a lot. I wish they would have told me that. But then it's like, if you think about it, would I have the capacity to understand what she was telling me if she would have told me that if I was in middle school and high school?
Nope.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. So at the same time too, I think there should be a balance when you're raising Black children and POCs. You do have to let them know and let them be aware that, listen, it's not that you're not talented, right? It's just so we're just trying to make sure that your confidence is not taken away, because there's people that are not built to hear the no's in the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And when you're in these spaces, because not a lot of Black people are in these spaces, right? When you are cosplaying, especially when you go to certain events, when you go to certain cons, right? The first thing they tell you is like, "Oh, you're the Black version of this, you're the Black version of that."
Yeah.
Nobody prepares you.
Black. This character doesn't have nappy hair. This character doesn't have this, and it's like, really, none of these characters exist, mind you. But whatever.
Right.
Exactly. But the thing is that I think in their mind they're prepping you for that, because there's going to be spaces. Your parents. Let me tell you something about Haitian parents. They know what type of children they're raising. Yep. They know what type of crowd they are in based on their interest. My mom she knew low key, like I had my clique, but they weren't really my clique. Like they weren't really my people. She knew I wanted to hang out with the nerds. Yes. And the majority of the nerds that was in our neighborhood that was going to comic book shops, they were white boys. So she knew if I was taking the time out to hang out, to go to these comic book shops, to be surrounded by white boys, I need to have tough skin. Yeah. Not only am I a girl, I'm a Black girl on top of that. So I say this to say their heart are in the right place.
They meant well, yes.
They meant well. It's just that I don't know, because like I said before, I don't think I would have been old enough or smart enough to receive that what she just told me a couple of years ago about rejection and about how the world would see me. You know, sometimes they tell you that a lot of Black parents will have that conversation with their kids about, you know, racism and stuff like that, because we're the only culture, POCs and Blacks will have that conversation. White folks never have to the talk. We never have to, they don't have to worry about that, but we have to worry about the talk. But then when is it too young? Or to when is it too young to have the talk? When are you supposed to have the talk with your child?
I don't think there is such a thing as too young, because any kid can experience it at any point. But I think it's just we end up going too strong in the tough love scenario, like you were talking about, and not enough in not soft love, but just like a little bit of reality. Like for my parents, they made it seem a lot of the times that just because of my interests, my size, my color, my whatever, that the world's just going to hate me, hate me, hate me. And while that's true, there's also a lot of love in the world. And I think that's something that they just did not happen to instill in me, where you're going to find love in certain communities. You're going to find love in your interests, and that love is going to come back to you. So I think it's just a matter of balance that we really need to work on when it comes to that topic.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. It is a matter of balance, because you can end up really traumatizing your child if you just don't have the balance. You're just coming with them with just like, no, stop it. You can't do this.
Yep.
Right.
It's okay to have that conversation, but I feel like, yeah, they should be a balance. What about you, Ellie?
I feel like parents, like black and POC parents, they need to, like, even if you don't understand like the interest that that your child has, they should at least like ask questions about like, hey, what you watching?
Get more involved.
What's it about? Be more involved. Like there was actually a recent thing, like a very, very recent thing my parents did. Like I was watching, like, I watch Overwatch League stuff, like that's like esports stuff with Overwatch. So like my parents were just like, so what's this? And I told them what's going on and everything, and like I showed them one of the characters, and like the character's Haitian. I'm just like, yo, Dad, Poppy, look at this, Mom, look at this. And like I showed them the character, and it was like, oh, okay. My dad, when my dad saw like the skin that I showed him with, like it was like a tropical skin, and it had like what's it called? It was that blue shirt, that blue linen shirt. You know the shirt.
Yes.
Oh,
you know this shirt.
Yes.
Yeah. The papi chulo, the papi,
yes, the papi chulo,
yes. The papi shirt, yeah.
I saw that at I saw that when, as soon as that skin dropped for Overwatch, I picked it up. I picked it up. It is never leaving. It will stay. It will stay.
That's it.
My dad was just like, they did something. Oh, he looks like your brother. I'm just like, he kind of does. Yeah.
So dope.
So, yeah, so dope. Just like invest in like your kids' interest, even if you don't know what it's about. Like, ask them questions. Get them their favorite thing.
Yeah. Engage. Find out their hobbies. Find out what they like, but also show that balance. I feel like it's very important. Another reason too that I asked, when do you think it's too early to have that conversation? So again, we have to deal with more bigotry and hatred because of the Black Ariel that we are getting, right? And you see these beautiful reactions for these little
they were also
little beautiful girls. They're just like, oh my God, that's me. Oh my God. And they don't understand. Like, I feel like, how do you tell them that there's not a lot of people that's going to be excited that you're getting this Ariel? Like, we just found out that there is this guy on TikTok who is in school to be a lawyer, and he mocked the girls. He blackfaced. So and he mocked girls. Yeah, he mocked the girls. So TikTok did his thing. Black TikTok did his thing. They found out what school he was in. I guess they
good.
Good. And I think they're dropping him. They're dropping him. And I think the college is making a statement within a couple of days saying that they are releasing him from the program.
Beautiful.
But to think that a little girl like would have to see something like that, how other cultures are making fun of her, like, and the crazy thing is the guy is a POC, like it's not a white guy. He really thought he really thought he ate. He really thought he ate when he really didn't do anything. And then people were telling him like, yo, you should take this down. His whole career is done. His whole career is done. His whole career is done. And it's fucked up. People told him like, yo, he was getting messages and people said, yo, you should take it down. He says, no, I'm not taking it down. So guess what? You don't want to take it down? That's fine. You don't have to take it down. But guess what? Guess what? I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Let me start.
Mash it.
Oh my God. Yo, nah, but for real, they did a great job. But I feel like how do you have I just like you have a child and they're so little and they're seeing this magic happen that's never happened before. Rarely did. You never seen little black girls, and because I feel like here's the thing, we don't get to control our narratives. For places for us to be, to actually control our narratives, to control the story, to actually tell the story that needs to be told, we don't have that opportunity. This is still a bone that these people are throwing at us because they know there's money in this, right? Like they call it, what you call the woke culture, whatever. They know, listen, ever since Black Panther was released, everybody, every studio, every company is trying to market and get that type of bread because the way Black folks showed up and showed out.
Our dollars showed out. Our dollars. The black dollar. Powerful.
As soon as that happens,
we may not be the majority, but we are the consumers. We are the trendsetters. We set the tone of where the money's going. Because once white folks see us spend and do something, they follow. They will follow. You think Crocs is big by accident? No, we took that shit and made that shit look hot. You crazy? And we are trendsetters. There's nothing that moves if it wasn't for Black. Listen, anime being a trend, not even being a trend, but being pop culture right now, it's because of us. What are you talking about?
High key, low key, mid key, whole damn piano. Of course, it's because of us.
Of course. And for them to be upset about a fictional character and to get
a fish. It's a fish.
And for you to get scientific with it, well, you know, there's no sun. Let my kid have this. Let my little kid. Y'all had everything else, everything. Not only that, y'all blackface the hell out of Hollywood. The hell out of Hollywood, just so you want to let us in the door.
Blackface, yellow face, all the faces.
All the fucking faces. And you mean to tell me you guys are sitting here complaining and making these weird ass theses on why this character should not be Black? How, Sway? How?
Especially when it's a fish. Like, and they try to do this weird thing where it's like, well, if you're gonna make Ariel Black, why don't we make Mulan white? Why don't we make Tiana white?
Doesn't make sense.
Those are based off of actual people whose like color and skin tone is actually integral to their character. Like a white saving China makes no sense. A white woman being in New Orleans and having to them as she's trying to get a that doesn't make no sense.
No, it doesn't. Because it shows reverse racism. That's what it's showing. Reverse. That's what you're trying to play off at. And it's not working, sir. It's not. Just say you don't like Black people and you don't want to see it. And like, look at perfect example. These motherfuckers got crazy wild looking at elves that are Black. It's like, oh, elves can't be Black. Nigga, since when elves was a race? Like, you mean to tell me Black? Like, this is fucking crazy to me. Like, these are elves, and they can't be Black. They can't be Black. You motherfuckers claiming elves too? Like,
right?
Are you serious?
Another thing for the Ariel conversation is they're mad that Ariel is Black, but if Ursula was to be Black, no one would bat an eye. No, didn't Queen Latifah play Ursula in the Broadway show? No one bat an eye to that because they're used to seeing Black people in villain spaces and not the main character, not being the hero, not having a happy ending. They see no problem with that. But God forbid we want to be pretty and dainty and have like a prince at the end that wants to, like, you know, whisk us away into like a magical castle. Like, I want a castle. Why can't I see myself having a castle? But you can see me being a villain who is just like evil and just trying to spread a whole bunch of nonsense to everybody.
Yeah, we never. I can't even claim Tiana because she was a frog for 90% of the fucking movie. So it's like, you know, I'm just. I don't know.
And then they did that again. Soul.
What was the name of the movie?
What was the name of the movie?
What was the name of the movie?
Soul.
What
You know, so I guess that's one thing I have to like. I feel like with that, what's going on, I start to appreciate my mom and my dad's thought process a little more now, because it really did prepare me for all the negativity and all the racism in the world. Because now a no don't really fuck with me so much, especially if it's coming from a Caren. So it don't. And not only that, like I have tougher skin now, but I'm also able to embrace my feminine side. I'm also able to understand that I don't have to be that strong black woman anymore. I used to think for dudes to respect me in that circle of anime, manga, and comic books, you know how they would have those ashy lip motherfuckers that ask you, okay, well, what was Goku's drawers when he was wearing an episode 23 and shit like that?
Not Jamal-kun.
Yes. Facts.
I can't.
Jamal-kun.
No, for facts. I had to talk. I felt like I had to talk a certain way in front of these niggas so they know that, you know, this is a passion of mine. I like this. You can't put me on my shit. But now, just to gain respect. But now I don't have to do that anymore, right? I every time when you see a TikTok video with a black girl talking about to check a dude, she always has her credentials first. She said, well, I've been watching anime since this. I have a collection of this. Look what's behind me. I feel like now that's unnecessary.
Very.
You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. But I know sometimes they like, okay, I'm doing it just to let you know I know what the fuck you talking about. No, queen, I know what the fuck you was talking about when you pressed the red button. I believe you, always believe you first. Yep. But you don't have to be a veteran to love the shit that you do. You could just come into the shit and still be amongst people who've been in it for years. Fine, pull up, have a seat. I'm gonna give you a list of all the shit that I watch. Maybe you like it. What's matter of fact, what are you into? Based on that, I could tell you what genre you should be watching. What this and that. But I felt like now I look back and think about all the stuff that I had to go through in my house and with my parents. I know the value of my talent, right? I'm able to go and do this podcast. I'm able to connect with you guys and able to try to be an advocate for Black, beautiful women who are part of, you know, the alphabet mafia and the spectrum, and to let y'all know, like, yo, once we got each other, we don't need nothing else.
Very much.
Even if you don't have each other, as long as you have you,
yeah,
I could go to a bookstore, buy myself a talk mad shit in Kinokuniya and Barnes and Nobles, and open up a chapter to be like, oh, this nigga, no, he didn't. Like, I'm cool within my skin. Right. That's what I like now. It took me years to get here, but I'm good now. You know, so I have to say I owe that to my parents, though.
I do. I'm a respect to my parents. Like, they really did, like you said, they, no matter how much trauma they inflicted on me, the trauma helped a little bit. Like a little mini micro doses of trauma, I guess, formed my personality. And you're right, it made me the person I am today, where I can just like go on the train on my way down to the Javits Center in a cosplay and not give a fuck of who's staring at me. And what the hell is this person? Why? What is this, you know?
Right. I mean,
honestly, no, go ahead.
Yeah, Ellie, no, go ahead.
Like, it didn't dawn upon me until like one of my cousins actually like messaged me, and she was just like, you know, I was jealous of you growing up because like you got to live as you.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to live as you, and like I admire that. Like, she's 4 years older than me, and she's just like, of course, like. Me and my younger brother we're the babies until like another 2 cousins was born. Me and my younger brother we just lived as our authentic selves, while they were just like they followed what their parents said. Their parents told them like, oh, just give up on this, that, and the third, and then afterwards they will eventually would give up. But like me and my younger brother, we was just like.
So we're out here inspiring people with our own authenticity. That's beautiful.
Right, and like I have like a little cousin. She's like 9 years old, and then she's over here running around in cosplay and stuff like that. She had a Nezuko cosplay from Demon Slayer. She had like the game I play, Genshin Impact. She was dressed up as like one of the little characters. Like
it was an anime. Sorry, continue.
Yes,
it's now having an anime. I'm like,
yes. We're gonna tap into that real quick, ladies. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen. I know we ranting on about our family, but real quick, we gonna really go into this anime shit. I gotta ask them their top 5. But Ellie, finish what you were saying.
But yeah, just like seeing me being my authentic self is just like inspiring the little kids in my family to be their authentic selves, and I'm just like, damn, I wish I had that.
Yeah,
but I'm just glad that I am that.
Yes, because it resonates with a lot. Like a lot of people, when they see that and they see you being you and you being happy and unapologetically woman, black and happy, and it just feels good when you see somebody else. Like when I see somebody rocking anime merch on the train or cosplaying in the train, like they just wearing regular clothes, like it's just a flex. This is a light flex brought to you by my and I look at them, I'm like, yo, and don't let it be a black woman with her natural hair too.
Stop.
That's oh god,
I get all kinds of excited.
What the way I be like, can I sit next to you, please?
Right.
But you know, not creepy, but you know, can I sit next to you, please? It does a lot to see that, because like before they weren't any spaces for us to do something like that. They weren't, especially if you're like West Indian. They weren't. Not only was the spaces limited, you weren't getting the support like that, you know. But to see that now, to see that change, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, there's still a fight. Yeah, there's still a fight.
But it's definitely slowly changing.
Slowly but surely it is. Hey, tune in next time for part 2 of our Zoetaku episode here only at Black Ramen Podcast.